And good evening, my lovely Lost Tales, and welcome back to the Blue Rose Respite for my soothing Sunday night stream. I hope you're all doing well tonight as we are embarking on a new adventure. Tonight we are playing When the Night Comes. This is a visual novel that I've only seen brief snippets of. The art looked amazing. I love all of these character designs. And I thought it had been a while since we've done like a more classic kind of visual novel game. It does have voice acting for all of our lovely swoon-worthy love interests, but of course I'll be narrating all the other parts. But I hope all of you are doing well tonight. Hello everyone! And as a reminder, when we hit 1800 followers on Twitch, I will be releasing some fun new emotes for you to have fun with. So if you have friends that you think would enjoy my channel, then be sure to give them a heads up and tell them when they can find me, when and where they can find me. Your makeup is sharp today. Thank you, Sam. I tried something a little bit different. You can see it clearer in the picture that I posted on my socials, but I really love this little detail of when people put like just a little flick, a little check right at the corner of the eye, because I think it balances out when I do a winged eyeliner quite nicely. So for more of a fantastical, magical sort of look, I decided to go something a little bit different tonight. But are you guys ready? Tell us your first name, okay? Okay, you guys know my real last name, but I'm actually going to just put as Stephanie Swan for this game. It sounds more magically anyway. Oh, and don't forget to stretch. Good, thank you, Hayden. So Stephanie Swan. And my pronouns are she, her. When the night comes. Department of Enforcement, Office of the Lieutenant General. You have been selected for immediate transfer and are authorized to report to the Enforcement Headquarters at Lunaris, Esquira. Please find your mission information and all other relevant documents enclosed. Once the information has been digested, we order that the documents be promptly destroyed. This information is highly classified, as are all details of your relocation. Upon arrival, please report to General Augustus Willenheim. Respectfully, Lieutenant General Harold Addington III. I'm just going to quickly save now, before we get too distracted. The Medloid Man, thank you so much for the 26-month resub. Hello everyone. Hello Medloid Man, and thank you so much for the support. I arrive in Lunaris at dusk. I've been traveling for days. My feet are sore, my eye is tired, and all I can think about is how much I need a damn good sleep. And Kimiko, thank you so much for the 49-month Prime resub. You're currently on a 36-month streak. Thank you so much for over 3 years of support, now over 4 years of support. Thank you so much, Kimiko. Thank you. Oh, the name of the game is very intentional, I think. And hey Cerberus, how's it going? I'm a hunter, and I've been called here by the Lieutenant General of Esquira to lead an investigation. The matter is apparently urgent. The rapid way in which I've been summoned is anything to go by. The things that you hear about in ghost stories and fables are all real, and it's my duty, my purpose, to protect humanity from those creatures that go bump in the night. There have been a series of particularly violent murders here in Lunaris lately, and the local enforcers, the agency that oversees us, can't seem to put their finger on who or what the culprit is. I was the most skilled hunter general in the previous town I was assigned to, but I eagerly welcomed the change of scenery. Even if it does involve murder and a healthy dose of existential dread. Buckle up guys, we're in for a good ride. Though as I sink further into the town, the feeling that washes over me is making me wonder if I made the right choice. As if I even really had one at all. Our lives are bound, and I live to serve, As hunters, we're the only ones equipped to deal with such monstrosities. Plucked from our families at a young age, we're told that we hold an incredibly rare talent, not only in passing the secretive initiation that gifts us with keen senses and empathetic skills, but also in possessing the mental fortitude, intellect, and obedience necessary to ensure our effectiveness and loyalty. I steel myself and wander aimlessly through the unusually narrow streets, unable to focus on much else other than the thought of a warm meal and a comfy bed. The only thing that distracts me from such thoughts is the way the sky begins to turn an inky, infinite black. Wisps of mist swirl around my ankles, seeping out from every crack and crevice. Flickers of magic are present within the smoky tendrils, and I can't help but wonder if my mind is playing tricks on me. I turn a sharp corner and see people running, scooping up small children scrambling to get inside. I hear the sounds of doors slamming and locking, echoing off of the crooked stonework. Curtains are drawn, windows are closed, and then darkness, the abnormal kind. Although the stars are shining brightly at a glance and the crescent moon hangs low, neither offer much light. It's unsettling to say the least. A chill rolls down my spine and I walk faster, my sore feet continuing their protest. The instincts that have been part of me since my initiation kick in, and I have a feeling deep in the pit of my stomach that I need to get inside and fast. I spot a mage-light lantern as I head further down the street. The dull blue flame flickers invitingly in the darkness, drawing me in. I push the weathered wooden door open, and the light tinkle of a bell that hangs above my head announces my presence. It's empty, only very dimly lit by a few well-worn candles. The shelves are stocked with curious trinkets and jars of strange-looking ingredients and potions, and an apparently endless collection of dusty old books line the walls. They've stumbled into my bedroom. It smells faintly of incense, and a little of... is that ozone? Yes, like the way the air smells just before a storm. Like lightning. I hear footsteps and turn to find their owner, and I'm taken aback by the figure that appears from behind a wall of a pair of well-placed curtains. Hi.
I was just closing up, but can I help you?
You're pretty. This is gonna be a problem, isn't it? Oh no, from the sounds of things, I'm going to be swooning and blushing my way through this game. The mellow man. Well, this feels like I've been forcibly dragged into a YA novel. Buckle up and enjoy. All of the love interests in this game are so very hot. So very hot and very pretty. White eyes burn into me, brighter than the clearest of emeralds. His aura feels distinctly magical, and I'm very aware that I'm looking at a witch. A powerful one at that. I'm sorry to intrude, but I appear to be a little lost. I'm looking for the tavern? His gaze falls to my weapons and my sash, his cheeks darkening as realization apparently sets in.
Are you the new hunter?
I offer him a wry smile. Is it that obvious? My tiny bisexual head is going to explode by the end of the stream. Same. Same. Focus. Stay in character. He returns my smile and I can't help but feel welcome. At home, even.
Just a little. It's lovely to meet you. The town has been alight with gossip about you this week, you know. My name is Ezra, by the way.
I'm Stephanie. It's nice to meet you, Ezra.
Did anyone happen to tell you not to wander the streets when darkness falls? As capable as I'm sure you are, it's not advised. Especially these days.
I shake my head, still a little out of sorts from the long journey. Then, much to my embarrassment, my stomach decides to grumble loudly. How rude of me, you must be starving. Take a seat in the back room and I'll quickly fix you something up. You really don't have to do that. I'd better be on my way.
You'll do no such thing. It's too dangerous out there. Please, I insist. It's no trouble, really.
I can hardly refuse when he's looking at me like that. This is the first person we've met when we've come to town, and we're already like flustered in character. We're already flustered. Oh no. I nod and follow him as he parts the curtains to reveal a cozy living space. There's a small kitchenette and a crooked dining table, and nestled in the corner is a tattered but comfy-looking sofa. Ezra fills an old steel kettle and pops it on the stove, igniting the stubborn burner with a grunt before he turns and offers me a smile.
I'm just going to pop upstairs and get you some blankets. I really do insist you stay until morning. You must be exhausted, and I'd hate to send you out into the darkness knowing...
He pauses, stopping himself.
Just wait here, and please, make yourself comfortable.
I'm a little suspicious. Saying I could stay for dinner is one thing. Saying you should stay the night at my place... so we just met. I can think of nothing worse than even walking across the street right now, let alone across town, so I swallow a polite protest. Thank you, Ezra. He disappears up a narrow staircase and my curiosity instantly gets the better of me. A solitary candle burns upon the countertop, colourful, magical little lights hanging from various picture frames and shelves, as well as an abundance of luscious green plants. It's utterly enchanting, just like its owner, and obviously very well loved. There are generous amounts of personal belongings and keepsakes littering every possible nook, and I eye a tiny dish that's overflowing with brightly coloured jewellery. Besides it sits a pile of crumpled parchment. Some of the pages are covered in an elegant looping script, and others are filled with lovingly rendered portraits. I tentatively reach out for one of the sketches at the top of the pile, but a loud creak startles me. I turn, as the letters I've always been taught to be as my fingers edge towards my weapon. The hairs on the back of my neck stand to attention, and I immediately know that there's a creature nearby. That's when I see them. A pair of glowing, fierce golden eyes peeking up at me from a previously hidden hatch in the floorboards, and before I can even think about defending myself, I'm pinned to the wall by a firm, cold, and inherently not human arm. Oh no, we're less than 20 minutes into the stream and... oh no!
Who the hell are you? Where is Ezra?
His lips curl into a snarl, affording me what feels like an incredibly pointed view of a set of long, sharp fangs. I'm doing the hydrate check, okay? If I hadn't already clocked his deathly pallor, there'd be no second guessing what kind of creature I'm dealing with here. Vampire. I know I'd already be quite dead if that was what he truly wanted, and I feel nothing from him other than an overwhelming desire to protect something or someone. His aura is panicked but distinctly non-threatening, so I decide to relax against his hold. I cautiously raise my hands in surrender in the hopes that he'll stand down. We're not taught to harm creatures who have no intent to harm us. It isn't what we stand for. At least, not the honourable hunters. Plus, vampires are the closest thing there is to humans in the Demonology Handbook, and I've met a few reasonable ones in my time. Emphasis on a few. He retreats a little, just as I'd hoped. Just enough for me to gather my composure. He wants to know what's happened with Ezra. I will say that Ezra is safe. Ezra is fine, I swear it. Oh no, he's hot too. Those bright, disarming eyes burn into my own, a chill skittering over my skin. He looks like he's searching for something, his dark brows twitching as he studies my face, a thick scar cutting through the one on the right. Something that looks a lot like relief settles upon his face. I can't help but wonder what a vampire is doing sneaking into Ezra's home at this hour.
If you're playing tricks on me, I'll have your head. Understand?
I nod once, my hand still raised where he can see I mean him no harm. I'm not lying, he's safe. He's upstairs. I tip my chin towards the staircase in the hopes that he'll use his head and seek Ezra out with those impressive senses of his. He takes a step back, but he still does not seem to trust me. I don't entirely blame him. I know how he feels. The sound of the kettle whistling as it comes to a boil distracts him, and he visibly relaxes. His gaze quickly darts to the staircase, then back to me. He steps back, the candlelight illuminating his angular face, all sharp lines and hair as black as the night. He's otherworldly, obviously attractive in that tall, dark, and dead way, and his left arm is missing from the shoulder down. In its place is an advanced-looking prosthetic, flowing with what looks like incredibly advanced magic. He catches me looking at it and quirks at that scarred brow.
Like what you see? Sorry, it's not for sale.
I like a lot of what I see, sir. Ezra appears from upstairs, his eyes wide as he surveys the sight before him.
Finn? What are you doing here?
Hi, Finn. Hi, Ezra. Iron fingers curl around Ezra's forearm, almost as though he's just checking he's real. His prosthetic thrums brightly as if it's responding to the touch. Oh, I'm going to be doing a lot of hydrate checks, aren't I? I wonder why. I sense that you felt uneasy. I came immediately. Are you okay? Ezra smiles, covering Finn's hand with his own to gently pat it, a reassuring gesture. The intricate patterns etched into the dark iron pulse like a heartbeat. I was only very briefly startled by the appearance of our new friend here. Right. Finn turns to me and dips his head in an apology. Hey Alex, how's it going?
I'm sorry about that less than savory introduction, Hunter. Things are a little on edge here lately.
I'd never have guessed. Ezra shakes his head, clearly amused by my sarcasm. Oh, if you're attracted to sarcasm, then we're going to be married by the end of the week.
I'm fine. You really don't need to jump every stranger that passes this way.
The final reassurance seems to make the tension melt from Finn's broad shoulders. Sorry, Stephanie, you don't need to be alarmed. He's an ally, I swear it. Even if he doesn't give the best first impression. Finn offers me a genuine, almost soft smile. He looks guilty. As he should, I suppose. I catch Ezra eyeing me warily, clearly sensing my apprehension. It isn't like it's every night you find yourself in a magic shop staring at a witch and apparently friendly vampire. Finn's whole demeanour changed the second he laid eyes on Ezra, and I feel any final traces of fear melting away as he steps forward and offers me his hand. The smile that crosses his lips is mischievous, and cold fingers grip my own in a firm handshake when I reach for him.
It's truly a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. His pretty eyes brush over me like a caress, his pupils dilating, and I feel myself swaying, leaning towards him almost unconsciously. There's a soft whisper of muffled thoughts echoing in my mind, and I can't quite tell if they belong to me or him. It's soothing, and whatever he's doing grants me the foresight to see that he most certainly is harmless, that he bears no ill will towards me. Something tells me he now sees I'm harmless too.
Finnegan, stop that. It's not polite.
Are you blushing, Ezra? Finn closes his eyes briefly, breaking whatever connection he's created with me, and he offers me a killer smile, literally. Shit, those fangs are really no joke. He must be pushing at least 5 centuries. I've heard of vampires enthralling their victims before a kill, but that felt more like a request to be understood, like he wanted to show me he can be trusted. He exchanges an almost sheepish, knowing glance with Ezra, and I quickly feel my mind clearing itself. It's interesting to see such a powerful creature wither under a witch's gaze. Sorry, I'm just checking. He looks at me and our eyes lock. I nod once, appreciating that he cared enough to put me at ease. Then he's grinning again, wickedly. I hope he didn't hear anything untoward in there. Anyway, Ezra fusses with the kettle, pouring me a cup of fragrant tea and offering it to me on a pretty floral saucer. Here, this will help you get a good night's sleep. Blitz, hey, you're popping my head. I'm working on an art piece for my top 5 favorite ASMR YouTubers. That's amazing, Blitz! Thank you so much for dropping by. I take the cup with a nod, both of them staring intently as I take a small sip. It's good, refreshing, and exactly what I need. So, Stephanie, Are you looking forward to becoming part of the Ow! Ezra elbows him in the ribs, throwing him a stern warning glance, and Finn flinches a little too dramatically for a big scary creature. Lovely town.
Do you have any idea what you've gotten yourself into?
Well, I mean, tonight's turning out in an interesting way. Do tell. I like a little adventure. I'm used to a little adventure. I truly hope I can help. Ezra looks defeated, but strangely optimistic. I hope my words sound honest because I really have little choice. I have to help, it's my job. Honestly, Alex, all of the characters in this game look so cool and very hot. And also, just a heads up, I'm not leaning towards any particular choices. This is my first time experiencing this game. I'm just going to go with my gut, make my choices organically, and we'll see what direction this goes in. My duty. Well, you certainly seem capable enough. Finn grimaces, exchanging a strange look with Ezra, and I feel they're not telling me something.
My clan and I are at your disposal, should you require any assistance.
Thank you, Finn. Clan? He nods, but I decide not to press him for details. Yet. I'd definitely like to know how many supposedly good vampires reside here in Lunaris. Sam, I will say, I could be wrong, but I think polyamory is an option in this game, so you can romance multiple choices. I could be wrong, that could be a different game I'm thinking of, but I think that's a legit option in this game. Oh, Alex. Our wonderful vampire character, that's actually a prosthetic arm, and that's all iron and metal work and stuff like that, and it looks so cool. I offer them both a smile and finish up my tea. Ezra hurries to take the empty cup from me and sets it upon the table. He places his hand upon Finn's arm. Finn, Stephanie needs to rest. Maybe you should head home? Finn nods, and Ezra follows him as he heads for the hatch. They embrace briefly and Finn whispers something in Ezra's ear, the witch grinning brightly as he pulls away. Well, then Finn's warm, golden gaze locks with my own, and he smiles.
Be sure to take care. If you ever need anything, just scream, and I'll come running.
Good to know, good to know. He winks, and my traitorous cheeks threaten to warm at the sight of it. He notices, and laughs quietly, a deep, comforting rasp that I could most certainly find myself getting used to. My god, even in character, we're just we're simps. We just met these two, and we're already so what are you doing later? I'm supposed to be heading to a tavern. Could I perhaps see you later at this tavern? Maybe? Please? Thanks for the hydrate check. Okay, I'm just gonna save. I'm gonna save fairly regularly, just in case. Just in case. Maybe every 20 minutes, half hour or so. It was nice to meet you, Finn. Finn gracefully lowers himself into the hatch, and Ezra stares into the darkness until the doors slam shut. He turns and retrieves a tin of biscuits from a cupboard, offering them to me and waiting expectantly until I take a handful.
Please don't let our apprehension worry you. I'm sure you're more than capable of getting to the bottom of all this. Some are saying the town has been cursed, but I sense something else. Something bigger.
Well, it's always a terrible night for a curse. I understood that reference. Even though we've only just met, I feel like I can trust him. Within moments of my arrival, I could tell something about this town is off, and I intend to get to the bottom of this mess. I have to live up for my apparently impressive reputation, right? I bestow my simp crown to thee, Stephanie, Queen of the Simps. Oh, Sam, you're too kind. I'm maybe not necessarily a simp. I am just a seraph with exceptionally good taste. That's all I'm gonna say.
We've lost people, good people, and the investigation seems to have just halted. We don't know what more we can do. Ugh. Look at me getting all emotional when you're probably dead on your feet and desperate to get some sleep.
Yes, I am very tired. He quickly gathers himself, forcing a laugh to break the somber mood. Thank you for letting me stay, Ezra. I'll be out of your hair first thing. I stifle a yawn as Ezra turns to fuss with some blankets. I'm thoroughly looking forward to settling upon the sofa, however tiny it may be.
Really, it's no problem at all. Wouldn't dream of letting you wander the streets at this hour, especially after that journey. I'll see you in the morning. If you need anything, just shout.
He heads upstairs and I eagerly remove my boots. The relief is instant when I settle against the cushions, pulling the soft blanket up to my chin. Despite the abundance of questions that currently flood my mind, I swiftly fall into a blissful, dreamless sleep. Steph is more of an admirer of very fine goods. Exactly. Like, I'm very picky when it comes to people I'm romantically interested in. I have set standards. So for me, I appreciate beauty and I know a work of art when I see it. That's all I'm gonna say. And these two are already so very pretty and so very nice. And like 20 minutes in, already getting pinned up against the wall by a vampire. Like, I'm fully on board with this game. After I wake and Ezra eagerly makes me more tea, I join him in the shop as I prepare to leave. I wait patiently while he deals with what sounds like a particularly difficult customer, doing my best to eavesdrop as I survey the books that line the walls. Most of them are in languages I don't understand. There's a strange energy in the air, and my senses tell me that Ezra's visitor is also of magical origin.
You really can't just drop by like this and expect me to have what you need right away. These things take time.
I like your character art. Sir, I can tell you're a bit of a prick though. Let's see where this goes.
That's always your excuse, Ezra. Do you not want me to work hard to save this town?
I like your voice though. Ezra sighs, apparently not willing to argue, or maybe he knows he'll lose. The tall figure he's bickering with turns to look at me, and I'm caught off guard by their piercing eyes, which stare cutting me to my core. They scowl, their lips pursed as they turn on a towering heel like I have a target on my forehead. Ezra looks like he's about to try and say something to stop them, but they wave dismissively over their shoulder. They come to a stop before me and steal their gaze, staring me down and studying me from head to toe in a slow, pointed drag. I register the familiar violet sash that adorns their torso, the very same as mine, and I exchange a quick glance with Ezra. He looks apologetic as he hurriedly emerges from behind the counter to join us. An enforcer then, one who apparently doesn't feel like it's necessary to wear the standard uniform, or maybe they simply think they're too important. They have a commanding presence about them, and I can't help but wonder what rank they hold.
So you're my new subordinate? Interesting.
Oh no, this is our boss. Oh no! Please. I hope. I don't know if I should say I hope, but I have a feeling we're gonna have to call them sir. Like, yes sir, no sir. You say jump, I say how high, sir. Gus. August? So this is the infamous Major General Willenheim that I've been assigned to. They're a prolific figure countrywide, and they're known for being responsible for one of the best hunters in Skira has to offer. It will be a true honor to serve under them, despite their apparently icy disposition. Historically, enforcers aren't the friendliest bunch. They live to serve just as we do, but they hold a much higher authority and love to remind us about it. The way Ezra said their name carried a warning, and August scowls at him briefly before turning their attention back to me. I notice how tired they look, their eyes heavy-lidded and their skin pale, and they will even almost sway where they stand. Apparently Ezra notices too, a flash of concern crossing his features as he quickly rushes to gather some ingredients from a locked cabinet. It looks like he's done this before, seen them like this before. It's a pleasure to meet you, Enforcer Willenheim.
Yes, I know exactly who you are. Your arrival has caused quite a stir, and more than a little paperwork.
So you're expecting me? They glance over at Ezra, watching as he breaks off a few sprigs from a neatly wrapped bundle of herbs and pops them into a glass vial. Their foot taps impatiently on the floor, an exasperated scoff falling from their lips as they turn to look at me once again, eyes rolling. So tell me, Hunter Swan, are you ready to partake in one of the most baffling missions I've come across? I want to get on his good side. Of course, General. I'm looking forward to working with you. They quirk a perfectly sculpted brow, their lips pursed in contemplation.
I don't suffer fools, and I certainly don't tolerate tardiness. If you're capable, we'll get along just fine.
The unrelenting gaze burns into my own, and I swallow thickly, offering them as genuine a smile as I can muster under such scrutiny. I think everything will work out. This won't be as effective, but it'll do the job for now. As August eagerly reaches for the vial clutched in Ezra's palm, the witch pulls away and fixes them with a worried gaze.
Please stop doing this to yourself. They're pushing you too far and you know it. You're better than this.
Now we both know that's not true. Ezra surrenders the vial, the viscous violet liquid glowing dullly as August takes it with a trembling hand. Ezra squeezes August's fingers before pulling away. He looks impossibly sad. There's always a choice, remember that. August seems lost for words, but manages to maintain their carefully crafted annoyance. They reach for the door with yet another roll of their eyes, pausing briefly to catch my gaze.
I'll see you tomorrow. Don't be late.
Yes, sir? We stand outside the shop, the sky bright, but the town somehow still feeling inherently gloomy.
If you ever need anything, you know where to find me. Please don't hesitate to stop by.
You won't get rid of me if you say that. Oh, I wouldn't mind. His smile softens and I feel incredibly grateful that I stumbled across him. I mean it, though, any time, and be careful. Thank you, Ezra. I bid him farewell, reluctantly leaving the warmth and safety of the shop behind to follow the rickety old street signs that point me towards the tavern, the place I'll be calling home for the foreseeable future. The tavern is bustling and full to the brim with red-faced patrons, the tables littered with empty tankards. It's only 9:30 in the morning, but clearly this town likes to drown their sorrows, even if the sun has barely risen. I push my way to the bar and a scowling barmaid rolls her eyes at me as I politely raise my hand to get her attention. What? I have a room here? Could I check in, please? She promptly rolls her eyes again and ducks beneath the bar, reappearing within a few seconds looking even more pissed off. Room isn't ready till 2. You'll have to get a drink or make yourself scarce. I muster a polite, albeit forced smile, turning to find a table, but... Hi! I find myself face to face with a striking, scowling woman who appears to be blocking me entirely on purpose.
So this is the famous hunter that's taking my place then?
You're a hunter too? Oh. Hi.
You don't look like anything special to me. Come to gloat, have you? Rub it in my face.
Nice to meet you? It's nice to meet you. I am Stephanie. She looks taken aback, clearly not expecting me to be polite, and she quickly straightens up, her features softening, kind of. I know exactly who you are.
I'm Piper Merriman.
Hi, Piper. It is very nice to meet you. Chat, how are you holding up? I'm the former general. I was leading this investigation until you came along. I had no idea. I just go where I'm ordered. You of all people must know we don't have much of a choice. Her gaze drops to her hands and she picks at a non-existent piece of lint on her trousers. Yes, well, I do know that, I suppose. So I've really been called here to take Piper Merriman's place? She's a legend, having racked up more kills than some of the most seasoned hunters, and all at the tender age of 24. I feel terrible. I wasn't told I'd be replacing anyone, and her being upset suddenly seems pretty justified. I'd be devastated if I was demoted too. We work so hard and put our lives on the line, all while the majority of the enforcers sit safely behind their desks, holding our fate in hands that aren't stained with blood while our fingertips drip with it. Piper makes a vague gesture to the barmaid, and she swiftly handed a glass of warm amber liquid that she delicately cradles in her palm. She steps closer with narrowed eyes, surveying me in a way that almost reminds me of August. No, chat. Nice to know you're struggling too. I'll get through this. Pretty sure I won't be getting Employee of the Month anytime soon. But she is so pretty. We could always work together. I'm getting the feeling I'll need the help. And I'm sorry. Truly. I can't imagine how frustrating this must be for you. She continues to look annoyed, but I can tell a more vulnerable emotion lingers beneath the seemingly rock-hard exterior. She swirls the rum around, watching the gentle slosh of it as it coats the sides of the glass.
Yes, well, that's what I get for being utterly shit at my job, isn't it?
She scoffs a laugh, but the smile that curls at her ruby lips doesn't reach her eyes. Anyway, I'm sure I'll see you on the field. I'm not totally helpless, apparently. Sorry, I'm not totally useless, apparently.
They just have me doing the awful jobs. The stuff that doesn't actually matter. What a waste of a perfectly amazing hunter.
Oh, I'll do the hydrate check. Guys, you should do hydrate checks too. Enforcers. Just a bunch of pencil-pushing wankers. I stay silent, sensing that she might need someone to vent to. I've been there. Our job can be hard, and not just on our bodies.
Anyway, I can see I'm boring you. I'll just be over there, continuing to drown my sorrows until Willenheim summons me.
They're such an asshole. I huff a laugh, covering my mouth with my hand in a poor attempt to stifle the noise, and she seems briefly amused by my reaction. She offers me a thoughtful glance, then sighs loudly.
Don't take any shit from them, okay?
Okay, so, the general uses they, them. Okay, keep that in mind.
Come and see me if they bother you. I'm not afraid to stick my boot up their backside. Again.
Anyway, I'll see you around. She doesn't wait for me to respond, and with a flick of long chestnut hair, she's gone. I spot her disappearing into the heavy crowd that's mulling about in the centre of the tavern, a crowd that's apparently pretty pissed off about something. I decide to investigate. Might as well get stuck right in. What could possibly go wrong? I push my way into the crowd, and what I find both baffles and amuses me. A lichen, a hybrid lichen, sat smack bang in the middle of the tavern, arms folded across his chest. He has a smirk plastered upon his scarred lips, his wolf ears twitching dismissively as the townsfolk hoot and holler at him. The lichen doesn't seem to care and grabs his drink, taking a deep swig. My first impression is that he seems perfectly harmless, even if his cockiness is almost a palpable aura. As I take a step closer, however, I can see the scars he bears. A seasoned scrapper then, not shy in the least and eager to stir up the ire of the authorities or other creatures apparently. He spots me then, his scarlet eyes flashing, and then he's kicking out the chair in front of him and gesturing for me to sit down. Either he's bold or he's got something to prove, and I find myself being watched by the eyes of every tavern goer. They're all waiting to see if I'm going to oblige the object of their disdain, and the tavern falls deathly silent. As I take a seat, the crowd slowly begins to disperse. Though their eyes stay firmly fixed upon both myself and the lichen as they return to their respective seats.
They're lucky I kept my cool. Wouldn't you say, Hunter?
I like your voice. I wouldn't want to piss you off. They are incredibly so. They obviously haven't seen a lichen in their true form, have they? But then you look an awful lot like a halfling. I pointedly look at his human ears. He smirks, apparently highly amused.
Oh, I'm sure they've seen one or two around these parts. They're just stupid.
I grin, finding myself shamelessly liking him already. I see. How about you tell me your name, and why you apparently have a death wish hanging around in a tavern full of humans who quite clearly aren't too fond of non-humans? He bristles, his tail wrapping around the leg of his chair as he places his now empty tankard upon the table. The noises draw a gasp from nearly every single patron, and I glance over at Piper who sits in the corner, either oblivious or uncaring.
It's Alcar, and I don't have a death wish. Not today, anyway.
I like your hair and your toothy smile. Everyone in this game is so hot, I need help. Only today. He smiles, folding his arms back across his chest.
You don't need to concern yourself with me, Hunter. I stay far away from your kind. From everyone. Mostly. I do enjoy coming here to rile this lot up, though.
Oh, really?
Unless they come looking for me, of course.
He glances over his shoulder, catching Piper's gaze. She flips him off, and he turns back around to face me, his shoulders shaking with his laughter.
I'm sure you'll grow to despise me in time. Just like every other idiot in this hopeless town.
That sounds like a challenge, sir. He stands and all the patrons stiffen. It's so quiet you can hear a pin drop, but Alcar simply rolls his pretty eyes and flashes me with a sharp grin. He looms over me, close enough that I can smell the earthly, distinctly petrichor scent of him.
If my advice is worth anything to you, then trust me when I say to trust no one.
He stares me down. Even you?
Especially me. Goodbye, Hunter.
I watch him leave, feeling everyone's gaze still fixed upon me. I compose myself and offer them a smile, as genuine as I can muster after such an odd encounter. I glance at the clock and it's only 10:30. I have some time to kill. The town is small, very small, and it takes me less than an hour to walk it from end to end. On my travels I find myself drawn to the cemetery, and the scent of blood is thick here. That would be because this is the site of the last murder. I come across a patch of scorched grass. The earth around it is trampled by the boots of enforcers and hunters alike. The remnants of a crumpled gravestone are littered around the perfect black outline of a body, and I take a deep breath, crouching down to skin my fingers along the edges. I close my eyes and try to picture it, what happened to them, but it's hard to truly see knowing how stark the darkness is here. It's a blur, a mere memory, but I feel terror. They were so scared, utterly alone in their final moments. But something sticks out to me over all of that fear. I'm sorry. I love you. The words hit me hard, my chest aching, and I feel an intense longing. I feel love. The powerful and unconditional kind that snatches the air from your lungs. I take a deep breath and force myself to stand, trying to shake the feeling. I'll find out who killed you. I'm startled by the sudden sound of heavy footsteps, my hand hovering over my weapon. I look around frantically, on guard and ready, and then a striking figure appears. He's clad in fine clothing, his long hair tied in a neat ponytail, the crown of his head adorned with delicate jewellery, and I should be unsettled, the pointed teeth and sharp claws indicating he's definitely not human, but he's smiling? Then the flicker of a spade-tipped tail tells me all I need to know. I'm staring at a glamoured demon, though I'm finding it hard to be alarmed by his presence, which seems to be a theme here in Lunaris. His eyes are a warm chestnut brown, and they sparkle in the dappled sunlight as he gazes at me in wonder.
Hello, Hunter. I've been looking forward to meeting you.
Hi. You have? You've been expecting me. I watch as his cheeks darken, his gaze dropping to the grass.
Well, people talk and I listen, and they've done a lot of talking about you. I hope I didn't scare you.
Okay, I'm definitely picking up demon vibes from you, but I can't quite tell if this is an act or if you're just a little shy, perhaps? A little bashful? Well, he's certainly not like any other demon I've encountered. The not trying to kill me part helps. You didn't. It's okay.
You're sure? I've gotten used to startling people.
I promise you that I've seen scarier. He laughs, his tail flicking. Oh, I'm certain you have. His aura is calm, if not a little skittish, and at his side he's probably more scared of me than I am of him. He's still hard to read though, and that's frustrating, but not necessarily alarming. What's your name? The demon exhales sharply, apparently relieved that I'm making conversation rather than drawing my weapon.
It's Omen.
Hi. You've got to be kidding me. I'm polite. He gave me his name, I'll give mine. A demon called Omen. Well, that's reassuring. Clearly his sire has a good sense of humor. I'm Stephanie. So how has your first day in Lunaris been? I huff a quiet laugh, yet again perplexed by the wonderfully weird inhabitants of this town. He's certainly the most polite demon I've ever met. I guess it's been fine. I'm just a little overwhelmed. It's a strange town, isn't it? Omen laughs, the sound musical and almost infectious, causing my own smile to widen.
You're being polite. It's more than strange. It's a mess. A mess I and many others hope you can fix.
I'm getting a little bit nervous having all these hopes pinned on me. Everything is going to be fine though. I grimace, my gaze drifting back down to the place where the last murder victim lay. I sigh and muster as much confidence as I possibly can. I can do this. I can solve these matters. So, absolutely no pressure then. Omen shrugs playfully.
No pressure at all. Welcome to Lunaris.
This is fine. Okay, just gonna save quickly. I make it to the enforcement headquarters with time to spare after August's thinly veiled threat about tardiness yesterday. I had a terrible night's sleep on scratchy sheets, and I couldn't possibly feel less ready to face my less than friendly superior. I raise my fist to knock on the door, but the muffled conversation that I hear coming from inside has me hesitating. It sounds heated, and I glance at the clock on the wall behind me to check the time. I have 1 minute before I'm sure General Willenheim will admonish me for being late. So, I take a deep breath and I knock. The voices stop suddenly. I hear a clack of heels and then... Yes? Oh, it's you. They quickly glance at the clock.
Well, you're on time at least. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know it's terribly cozy out there, but please come in.
I nod politely and quickly step into the enforcer's office. It's beautifully decorated with neatly arranged bookcases lining the walls that are laden with a collection of trinkets and tomes that possibly rival Ezra's. There's a huge desk in the middle that overflows with reports and letters, and a half-empty inkpot and elegant sapphire quill poised and ready. Then, as if I'm experiencing a rather vivid case of déjà vu, Piper appears before me looking decidedly less impressed than she did in the tavern yesterday.
Hunter.
I'll be polite. Nice to see you again. Hello, Piper. It's nice to see you. She stares at me, her eyes narrowed as her gaze flickers to August, who stands quietly just behind me. Their hands are clasped behind their back, a dark eyebrow quirked almost expectantly. Piper frowns at them, her nose crinkled before she swiftly turns her attention back to me. Yes, you too. I offer her a smile, but the one she offers in return doesn't quite meet her eyes. I appreciate the effort nonetheless. So, You two have already met. In the tavern again, were you, Piper? August sighs heavily when we both fail to respond, and Piper manages to look anywhere but her superior. Anyway, they run their hand along the edge of their desk, inspecting their perfectly dust-free fingertip as Piper huffs in their general direction.
I know you have very important business to attend to, but I'm not finished with you yet, Willenheim.
Is that so?
I've given you your mission, you've complained about it loudly. So, pray tell, Major, what else could there possibly be?
Piper flinches, and I see her demeanor shift, her admirable determination withering and dying as that word rolls off August's tongue, a harsh reminder of her demotion, and one that clearly stings. I wonder if I'll ever get the chance to ask her about it, to finally know exactly what she did that warranted her being made such an example of.
Nice, August. Really nice.
I can quite literally cut the tension in here with a dull-bladed dagger. It's not awkward at all. We have a meeting, General? August sighs, glancing at Piper almost guiltily, but the sorry expression fades the second she meets their gaze. Yes, we do. Is that everything for today, Merriman? Is that it? I wasn't asking... They take a deep breath, pinching the bridge of their nose between forefinger and thumb. You're dismissed for today, Merriman. They stare each other down, and I wonder how the hell they ever managed to become one of the most successful elimination teams in all of Askera. I've heard countless weird and wonderful stories of their partnership, of Piper's unparalleled strength and August's unmatched intelligence. But here, now, all I see is a dispirited hunter and an impossibly tired enforcer. Harry's on his way, I expect. I suggest you depart quickly.
Shit.
She blushes at that, and I can almost see her admitting defeat. Her shoulders relax and the furrow in her brow fades.
Fine. I'll go and look for your possibly a small chimera, but probably a big fucking cat. One day you'll have to stop punishing me, you know.
Piper grabs a set of expensive-looking daggers from the chair in the front of the desk, strapping them to her back with haste. She pauses in front of me, and those dark eyes soften as she meets my gaze.
See you around, Hunter. Enjoy your important meeting, and remember what I said. Foot. Ass.
She chances another glance at August, and they suddenly become very interested in studying their perfectly manicured nails. With a wink, she then carefully spins to face August, squaring up to them playfully. The enforcer towers above her, still uncaring, still unbothered. Twat. And with that, she turns on her heel and slams the door so hard it shakes in its frame. August walks around the back of their desk, practically falling into the well-used leather chair. I scan the piles upon piles of paperwork that litter the surface, taking in the countless reports and letters, scribbled diagrams and gruesome drawings. I get the impression August is in over their head. The disorder in all of this information makes my fingers twitch. They watch me carefully, stifling a yawn with a trembling hand. I know, trust me, I know. As much as I hate to admit it, we've got nothing. As of right now, I suspect everyone in this town, as should you. Though I may not really know them just yet, I sense that this kind of vulnerability I'm seeing is rare. August doesn't strike me as the type to admit defeat so easily, and something more serious than the usual stress of the job seems to be lingering under the surface. After what I witnessed back in Ezra's shop, I can't help but wonder what they were like before all of this. The way the young witch looked at them. It was pity. Ezra pitied August. August huffs a quiet laugh and relaxes back in their chair, and for the first time since they met, they seem to let their guard down.
I don't know why Harry decided you were the right person for this job above all others, but I trust him implicitly. So, whatever plan he has for you, we had better make it work.
Oh, Sam, I'm keeping a close eye on chat, and you might occasionally catch, like, a little bit of a smirk on my face as I see your reactions. But I'm focusing on telling the story, guys, and I'm already very distracted as I right now or any of words. Please, continue, August. They pause, staring down at me with those ice blue eyes. Now, are you ready to begin? You know what? I'm just gonna flirt at every possible opportunity, okay? So I don't know what this stands for, but I'm going to save first, actually. Just in case it's something unexpected. Always, General. I feel emboldened as their piercing gaze bores into me, something twisting deep in my gut. I lean forward in my chair to make sure they see me. Really see me. I can't wait to see where our partnership takes us, General Willenheim. August presses their fingers to their lips, appraising me. Oh, really? I think we can achieve absolutely anything together if we truly want to. Though they're clearly trying to hide it, I see their lips twist into a sly grin.
And you stayed this after knowing me for a mere day and a half. How bold.
I know what I'm capable of. And you're quite prolific, you know. Their long, dark lashes kiss the tops of their lightly flushed cheeks, a pretty shade of dusky rose painting their pale skin as they lean in. Closer. Closer. Close enough for me to see the flecks of violet that swirl at the outer edges of their impossibly blue irises. August is magic, overflowing with it. It pours out of them in waves. I can feel it deep in my bones and settling upon my skin. Call it a gut feeling. A quiet, careful laugh, and suddenly they don't look quite so tired anymore.
I suppose you hunters hold quite the advantage over me with your gut feelings, don't you?
August tilts their head, their face doing something strange, an expression too quick to catch appearing before they settle back into that implacable ease they've mastered so wonderfully. They curl the corner of a page that settles beneath their fingertip where their hands have drawn closer to me at the edge of the desk. They clear their throat, and their next words sound noticeably husky. Regardless, I do hope you're right, Hunter Swan. They pause. Rather, I look forward to testing your theory. I smile, genuine and warm. Me too. And please, call me Stephanie. We're going to be partners after all, aren't we?
It's very well, but you will still call me General.
I laugh, but I nod in agreement. Of course, General. I hear footsteps in the hallway, and August quickly rises to their feet. They straighten their clothing and tie their sash a little tighter. I follow their lead and move to stand by their side, my heart hammering triple time in my chest as those footsteps draw nearer. There's a distinct clang of metal, of armor and heavy boots. Then the door swings open and an imposing figure enters the room. Hi. His gaze flickers between myself and August, his expression stern and almost emotionless. I've heard many tales about Harold Addington III, and as he stands before me, I feel a certain sense of pride at that he would choose to summon me to deal with such a vital case. He's adorned in the standard enforcer colours of black and gold, but his outfit is far more regal than any of those higher-ranked officials I've seen. Oh, and chat, I am well aware of what I am doing to you when I read those lines in character, and I let myself just get a little huskier, and I take my time with what I'm saying. Because I know quite a few of you enjoy like lurking and more like listening to my streams than actively engaging in chat, and that is 100% fine. But I like keeping you on your toes. A wide smile breaks out across his scarred lips, and he pulls August into a tight embrace, a deep, comforting chuckle rumbling in his chest.
Old friend, how the devil are you? It's been a while. Too long, I say.
You're Harry, hi! He pulls away, still firmly holding onto August's shoulders. You look exhausted. Have you not been sleeping? August offers him a wry smile as Harry drops his hands. I'm trying to sleep. Does that count? Harry throws them a look, something stern but edged with a certain fondness, one that a father might give to their child.
Look after yourself, Augustus.
August nods once, still smiling as Harry turns to stand before me.
Hunter, it's such a pleasure to meet you. I can finally put a face to all those impressive reports I've read.
He offers me his hand and I eagerly take it. It's a pleasure to meet you, Lieutenant General Addington, sir. He smiles warmly, keeping his grip on my hand, his other holding my forearm.
Harry is fine. None of that formal nonsense. If we're going to be working together for the foreseeable future, we might as well get familiar, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Of course, Harry. He laughs and I feel incredibly relaxed in his presence. Now, let us get to business, shall we? August hands him a standard issue file, sealed with wax bearing the Scarlet Enforcer emblem. They watch me carefully as Harry breaks the seal, a heavy sigh falling from his lips as he quickly scans the report. He closes his eyes, handing the papers back to August before he turns his back to us both. A silent moment passes, and Harry rounds his shoulders, clicking his neck before he faces us.
You know, I've worked for the Enforcers for nearly 30 years, and I've never felt quite so useless. We've lost some of our best, our brightest, kindest.
Harry pauses, the waver in his voice evident as he composes himself.
I am truly at a loss, and I'm finding it hard to remove my emotions from the equation when it's my own people being needlessly slaughtered.
August averts their gaze, stealing a quick glance at me, seemingly sussing my reaction, but also giving Harry a moment of privacy.
Nothing can bring them back, but we can bring those responsible to justice.
Suddenly it hits me. The victims were hunters, weren't they?
Yes, they were hunters, just like you.
Oh, that's comforting. Harry huffs a quiet laugh, clearing his throat.
I know we're putting a great deal of responsibility on your shoulders, but I have never-ending faith that you're the one who can help end this madness. Do you have any questions?
First thing we should know is about who the victims were, so I'd say ask about the victims. How many victims do we have so far? August looks at Harry for guidance, and Harry nods his permission.
4, but we anticipate more. The victim has shown up every 7 days for the past month.
Yes, with the most recent being 6 days ago, which is when I called for you. Enough is enough.
We're due a body, if our calculations are correct.
Harry clears his throat, twists the gold band on his finger.
I'd like you to concentrate on the latest victim for now. Male, 46 years of age, a general. He was one of our best. We owe him this.
I take a deep breath before I ask my next question, feeling immensely guilty before it even falls from my lips. Were all of them burned? I saw the ash and the charred ground. Each body's been burned very badly, yes, to the point where we cannot determine what wounds they sustained beforehand. Not even with magic? He shakes his head, exchanging a look with August, one I can't quite place. Not even with magic. Other than the timing of the murders, are there any other patterns I should be aware of? Harry's mouth twists into a grimace, and he shakes his head. I hope you don't think ill of me, but I'd rather not tell you at this point. He and August share a look, and August seems perplexed by this statement. Harry places his hand upon August's shoulder, a reassuring touch, a smile, then he's looking back at me. Please, just trust me, both of you. I want you to go out there and see things with your own eyes. Utilize your abilities, then we can discuss what we've already discovered. This is a complex case with many intricacies, but I think it's important that you don't let our opinions cloud your judgment. As terrifying and as baffling as this may seem, I see where Harry is coming from. I don't want to be influenced by an investigation that's so obviously failing. So where would you like me to start? I almost expect them to tell me to figure it out myself, but Harry surprises me. Well, the most obvious of places would be Abeck. Ibeck? Ibeck, I think. The what?
A curious pair are the Woodridge twins. They've taken up residence in the old church in the middle of town. I'm sure you've seen it.
I saw it all right. Big, imposing, and very obviously dilapidated. Yes, I did notice it. It's quite hard to miss, but I assumed it was empty with it being in such a state of disrepair. We could only dream that it becomes vacant, unfortunately. August clenches their fist, the faintest flicker of magic shimmering in their palm.
They're a plague upon this town, spouting their drivel and preaching to the dumb and ignorant. They're idiots.
Thanks for the stretch check, Sam, and the hydrate check, Lloyd man. Augustus. August takes a deep breath, their magic dissipating.
Right. Sorry. And I'm not fond of them, if you couldn't already tell.
Harry and I share a glance, and he smiles warmly, winking at me.
Oh, I think we got the picture. Now, as I said, I suggest you start with them. Just see what you make of them. You might need to play along with the woman. She tends to favor playing games. Anything to baffle you.
Have they already been questioned? Are they dangerous? Are they human? Harry shrugs, and August's annoyance at him being so unbothered is obvious.
Yes, they're human, and yes, they've been questioned. Hunter Merriman saw to that, but she and the woman have a rather tumultuous relationship.
Oh, really? Their alibi is solid. They have a guard, a human who has connections to Clan Casimir. She has no reason to support the ABEC other than just doing her job. I'd still be interested to hear what you think of it, though.
So, in theory, they're harmless, but they do have the people's ear for some bizarre reason.
Interesting.
They prey on fear, and the town is infected with that right now. Be cautious of them. They certainly won't take kindly to you.
Oh, I think the General can handle them just fine. Have some faith, August.
I've got this. August waves their hand dismissively, wandering over to a filing cabinet that's nestled in the far corner whilst muttering something under their breath. A warm hand touches my arm. We trust you, Stephanie.
Now, once you've spoken to them, I suggest just going where your gut tells you. There are plenty of other Lunarians for you to get to know, so just take today to really find your feet. I must meet with August and some of the other generals now, but please report back to us in the morning. Unless you find any damning evidence, of course, in which case, report back immediately.
I nod, glancing over at my superior who has taken upon themselves to dive headfirst into yet another pile of paperwork. Trust no one, right?
Not a bloody soul. Suspect everyone. Question everything.
Yes, sir, we've got this, guys. I close the door behind me, leaving August and Harry with their discussion. I feel a bit overwhelmed, but ready to finally start my investigation and to hopefully end all this chaos. I take a deep breath and straighten my clothes, feeling ruffled from both that initial heated encounter and the brief but semi-informative conversation with the Lieutenant General. As I turn to leave, I spot Piper leaning against the wall. She looks stoic, her gaze fixed on the floor, but she perks up when she spots me approaching. I love this art, by the way. Just like the level of detail, it's lovely stylized. Each of you can tell their personality so much through their character art, and just mwah, it's so good. Oi, Stephanie, I can call you that, can't I? She makes a quiet, frustrated noise and closes her eyes. She shakes her head, exhaling sharply before she meets my gaze. Listen, I'm sorry you had to witness that exchange. I couldn't bring myself to leave without apologizing for my behavior, both today and in the tavern the other day.
It's been a rough few weeks, and I often let my passion overrule any rational thoughts that I promise I am capable of having. It's unbecoming of me.
I'm taken aback by the vulnerability of her words. This isn't the Piper I thought I'd have to become accustomed to. Piper, She raises her hand to hold my words, calloused fingers curling into a fist.
Please, just let me apologize, alright? Then we can pretend I never acted like a complete asshole, and you can go and do your job.
So... She sticks out her hand, her daggers clanging noisily where they rest in the holster at her back.
The name's Piper Merriman.
She rolls her eyes, taking a deep breath before her next sentence.
Major Piper Merriman.
She throws me a wicked grin, and I can't help but laugh. I am just going to flirt at every opportunity because we're all going to enjoy what happens next. The pleasure is mine. I eagerly take her hand in my own and shake it firmly, my touch lingering a little longer than necessary as I cling to her warmth. It's a pleasure, Hunter Merriman. I gather I'll be seeing you around? Or I hope I will. A smirk hooks the corner of her mouth, our fingers brushing as they slowly part, and there's something curious shining in her striking gaze.
Well, the town is terribly small. It would be quite hard to avoid me.
I shrug, nonchalant. I can think of far worse things than bumping into you. She narrows her eyes, shoving me playfully. The most subtle flash of colour creeps across her freckled cheeks. She's so pretty when she's blushing, I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know. I can be pretty scary if you ask nicely.
Chad, how are you holding up? Oh, I'm gonna give myself my hydro check. Continue. Nicely, you say. She purses her lips, her sapphire gaze sweeping over me like a caress.
Well, well. I think we're going to get along swimmingly.
She's quite an enigma, and I can feel my skin prickling under her heavy gaze. Certainly not an unwelcome feeling. She snorts a laugh, the sound wholly inelegant, but charming nonetheless. Your Honor, I love all of them. What's so funny? She narrows her gaze, shifting from one foot to the other as if she has excess energy to dispel. Oh, nothing much. Just didn't expect you to be quite so interesting, I suppose. I feign offense, and her answering laugh is magical. I'll just have to prove myself then, won't I? That you will. Piper glances at the clock before turning back to me with a roll of her eyes.
Ugh, I better get going. I have an inevitably worthless mission to get on with. People in this town are adept at mistaking common house cats for ghastly creatures. Must be something in the water.
I should go too. Yes, of course. Now, off you go. Save Norse and all that. I'll see you around, Stephanie. She turns on her heel and heads for the exit, pulling her chestnut hair up into a messy bun as she goes. I gather my wits, checking my supplies and weapons, adjusting my armor. It's time to begin. Okay. Whenever we have like a transition like that, I am going to save. It's a strangely beautiful day in Lunaris, regardless of the biting cold. The sky is clear and the cobbled streets are abuzz with the smiling faces of townsfolk strolling to the local market with empty baskets and full pockets. There's certainly a different vibe to the last time I walked this street. No panic, no haste. As I draw nearer to the centre of town, I see that imposing white building, scarlet flags sway in the wind on the roof, but as I look closer, I can see that they're tattered and dirtied. The twins may very well be human, but the way my stomach drops and twists as I approach the weathered wooden door tells me I might be shocked by what I'll find inside. I push open the heavy doors, and the sight that I'm met with snatches the breath from my lungs. This place is huge. Its domed ceiling was seemingly once decorated with an intricate painting, but the layers have cracked and peeled over time, and nothing more than the remnants of what looked like a starry night cling to it. The furniture is caked with a thick layer of dust, and the pews are in disarray and covered with strange etchings that look like they've been carved into the cheap wood with a blunt nail. There's a lot to take in, but I'm not here to scour this ruin for evidence. I'm here to talk to its inhabitants. Leaves to make cup of tea comes back to everyone simping for a strong jawline. Friends, I love y'all, but you're so predictable. Look, my lovely Lost Tales have exquisite taste. Not just in content creators and storytellers like my good self, but they appreciate beauty when they see it. I have a weakness for women with strong jawlines. I mean, look at Stephanie. I'm not gonna lie, I am very lucky to be blessed with the bone structure that I have been gifted with, and I do my best to take care of it and not take advantage of it most of the time. The dread that's now firmly seated in the pit of my stomach churns violently, but it's something old, something that lingers. I anticipate that I might find a lot more than I'm bargaining for if I truly desire, but I need to focus. I need to find the Woodridge twins. As if by magic, 2 pairs of startlingly bright blue eyes emerge from the shadows near the destroyed pulpit. Hi, you two. Hello, Hunter. We were expecting you. To say that they're unusual would be an understatement, and not at all what I expected. Okay, start slow, ease into it. They've probably been harassed by people in the past, so ease into it. I offer her a small friendly smile, however forced it may be. Word travels fast in Lunaris. I'm Hunter Swan. She narrows her eyes at me, suspicious for the briefest of moments before she's smiling unnervingly again. Despite her best effort at apparently trying to be cute, it's still terrifying. I'm Aurora, and this is my dear brother, Amaros. That's a nice name. I've never heard that name before. That is a very cool name. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Hunter Swan. I nod politely, not quite sure which of them I should be focusing my attention on. Amaros doesn't appear to enjoy talking, or maybe he's simply not permitted to. His overbearing sister is clearly the leader of the two. Amaris doesn't seem comfortable with talking yet, so I'll speak to Aurora. I study her steeled gaze, and she seems completely at ease. Aurora, can you tell me what you do here? Amaris looks relieved that I didn't focus my attention on him, his once stiff shoulders sagging. Aurora clears her throat, a delicate hand covering her mouth as she does so. Well, what exactly would you like to know? I'm going to ask them about this place first, rather than getting straight into murder talk. I clear my throat, trying not to be distracted by their unnatural stillness. Can you explain to me what you do and why? They share a look, and Amaros nods at once under his sister's ice-cold gaze. Our purpose is simple. We spread the word of the night, of those who are oppressed and murdered in cold blood. And who exactly are the oppressed? She giggles, the sound musical, but edging on maniacal. The creatures, of course. I look at Amaros and he drops his gaze, colour sweeping across his pale cheeks. Is my answer not satisfying, Hunter Swan? Surely you know that the institution that you serve brings harm to innocents. That the creatures that you kill are nothing more than confused and lost, merely looking for salvation. I pause, carefully contemplating my response. My adult life has consisted of seeing bloodthirsty creatures trying to mindlessly murder innocent people and in turn trying to kill me as I protect them. I see no desire for salvation in that. I appreciate that there are creatures who don't intend to harm anyone, even some that are kinder than most humans. But... I smile again and take a deep breath. But I cannot bring myself to understand how you can so blindly support the slaughter of your own people. Amaros frowns deeply, and I swear I see him shaking his head at me, but it's just subtle enough for his sister not to notice. Because humans are inferior and pathetic. We infest and corrupt the earth by dedicating our time and resources to ridding it of the only things that give our wretched species any hope. She inhales sharply, calming herself and brushing her hands over the front of her skirt. So, Hunter Swan, to answer your question, we are here to protect the creatures, just as you are here to destroy them. What do you know about the murders? I'm sure you're very aware of the recent murders in the area. Can you tell me anything that may be of use to my investigation? Aurora steals her gaze, unblinking, her fingers clasped tightly in front of her. We saw nothing, and we have an alibi. I look at Amaros, startled that he actually spoke. His voice is strangely soft and comforting. Regardless, his words sound practiced and rehearsed. He looks nervous, like he'd rather be anywhere else but here, and his eyes keep darting to the door behind me. Nothing at all? You're stationed right beside the graveyard where the last hunter's body was discovered. You're telling me you didn't hear a thing? He was brutally murdered, set alight, and burnt to ash, and yet he didn't scream or call for help? Aurora's lips curl at the corner, her eyes turning dark. My brother speaks the truth, Hunter Swan. Question us all you like, but we've been through this with your insufferable predecessor. Just like Harry said, they apparently have an ironclad alibi, but my suspicion does not waver. I nod once, noticing Elmara's gaze burning into me, and though I cannot gauge how he's feeling, my gut tells me he has something to say. Something he wouldn't dare to with his sister by his side. Like he's scared. I'm starting to feel like Harry sent me just to unnerve me. Surely that he knew this is what I would be faced with. I still have little to nothing to work with here, but as the twins continue to stare me down, I think about his parting words. Suspect everyone, question everything. You truly have nothing else to say regarding the situation? Aurora stands firm, her lips curling into that wolfish grin once more. Not a thing. It was ever so wonderful to make your acquaintance, though. Truly. Do stop by again. Our doors are open to everyone. We're more than happy to accommodate you, should your agency need to question us for a third time. Amaras gives me a look again, and I wonder if it would be possible to somehow get him alone. I have a feeling I get a lot more out of him than I have from her. Thank you, Aurora. Amaras. On my way out, I see a small, neatly wrapped package sitting on the doorstep. I bend down to check the label, and written on it in elegant script are the words Zehewa and Amaras' name paired with a small heart. I may not know what it means, but I know a demonic language when I see one. Just as I suspected, there may be a lot more to Amaras Woodridge than meets the eye. I walk through the centre of town for a while, getting to know the buildings and watching the people that pass me by. Linares turns into a quiet, nervous town when the sun begins to set. I wonder if it's only recently we lost its warmth. Hang on, just need some more lip balm because I get a little bit tuckered out from talking and narrating all of this. I consider heading for the graveyard, something tugging at me and telling me that there's more for me to find, but... Hi. Thanks for the hydrate check. Alcar suddenly appears from between the crooked houses, sending two children that were playing in the street scattering.
What the hell have you been doing in that damned church? Are you feeding into their bullshit already?
Alcar, you're such a good puppy. He pauses, huffing a sharp breath through his nose.
I thought you'd be different. Just like everyone said you would be. How stupid of me to want to believe them.
This certainly isn't the first time I've been caught off guard by an angry lichen, but it's safe to say I don't need to fear for my life here. Maybe. He does look pretty pissed. It's not what you think, Alcar. I was just questioning them. He scoffs, rolling his eyes. His hands are shaking, but he balls them into fists when he catches me looking. Is that so? And why should I believe you? I don't even know you. No, you don't. Which is why you should consider giving me the benefit of the doubt. I'm just trying to do my job. Do you suggest I just ignore their very obvious cult in the middle of town? His wolf ears flicker back and forth, and he unclenches his fists. You were just questioning them? I nod. Yes, I was hardly agreeing with them and their hatred for, well, me. He rolls his eyes at me, standing his ground. Something has me curious and I can't resist asking. They want to protect you from the likes of me, so why do you despise them so much?
Because they couldn't care less about those of us that don't enjoy killing humans mindlessly. Because we're not real creatures if we stay out of trouble and befriend humans or each other.
So if you dare to act even remotely human, you're an enemy too? He smirks, brow raised.
Now you're getting it.
Alcar is apparently defensive to a fault, but I sense that under the surface he's probably just scared. Maybe even a little lonely. It must be hard to be feared like that when you've done nothing wrong. At least I don't think he has. He's that kind of a bastard. Oh, not sure about this one. 'Cause were you following me sounds defensive, but let's just break the ice a little bit. Do you have friends here? Are you close with anyone in town? He bristles, his tail swaying behind him. That's an odd question, and close is reaching. Do you at least know anyone in town? You and Piper seem aware of each other. He scoffs, his lip curling in disgust.
Merriman and I are not close. Unless you consider her kicking my ass her way of showing affection.
Well, maybe. I tilt my head, contemplating that she actually might. Depends on what you're into, I suppose. Trust me when I say Merriman and I are not friends. Then you truly have no one? He softens slightly, his gaze dropping to the ground. I have friends, I suppose. Finn, Ezra, maybe even the demon.
It's easier for me to keep my distance. Anyone who gets close to me always gets hurt.
Oh no! I love him, Your Honor. He deserves head pats. Is that so? I think about the way he acts, his cockiness and his smirking and flashing fangs. Is all that just a show to keep others away? To keep them wary? I suppose it works, as much as it also earns him their bad opinion. Why do you ask, anyway? You seem lonely, that's all. He straightens up, wolf ears pressed flat against his skull.
Well, maybe I like being lonely. Have you considered that? I am a wolf, after all. Aren't we supposed to be solitary creatures?
Well, that depends. Surely you have a pack. He stiffens at that, and his next words are firm and final. No, and don't ask me again. Sadness swiftly replaces any trace of anger that I feel from him. I'm sorry, I won't mention it again. Thank you, Hunter. A moment passes and our car restlessly shifts from one foot to the other. Hey, Kalana! Happy time zone to you too! He doesn't seem incredibly satisfied with my answer without questioning the twins, but I can't really do much more to convince him, nor do I care to right now. So, where are you heading to now? Do you live nearby? He narrows his eyes at me, clearly contemplating if he wants to divulge such information. Why? Flirting with everyone. Can't I just try to get him to know you a little better? And why would you want to do that? I offer him a smile as I shake my head, incredulous that he so obviously suspects the worst from everyone. Because I think there's more to you than meets the eye. Am I not allowed to be curious? He narrows those vivid scarlet eyes, meeting my gaze and holding it. I suppose you are. He continues to stare me down, taking a tentative step closer.
So, if I did let you get to know me a little better, what then?
I contemplate his question carefully, taking him in and surveying him from head to toe. Well, for starters, I'd buy you some shoes. He smirks, his scarred lip curling at the corner. He looks handsome when he smiles, a little softer. How thoughtful of you, though you wouldn't be the first to try. No? He shakes his head, wiggling his bare toes against the cobblestones. I run faster without them. I knew exactly who you're running from. If I told you...
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Flirting with everyone in this game. We share a quiet laugh, something passing between us. It's warm, and I feel like I'm finally getting in to experience the real Alcar for the first time. Or, at least I hope. Funny.
I'm a funny guy.
He glances up at the sky, muttering something under his breath before he sets his gaze upon me once again.
It's getting dark, and there's a cold drink with my name on it at the Wolf. As much as I'd love to stay standing in the middle of the street talking to Lunaris' new favorite person, I'd better dash.
He turns as if he's about to leave, but he pauses, pointing at the Ibex. The building looms over the town, and it appears even more unsettling now I know who resides there.
Stay away from them. You might think you're safe because they're human, but words can do just as much harm as knives or claws in this town.
Quick question, guys. Is the music a little bit too loud, and is it kind of cutting out some of the voice for you? It's not a big thing for me. I'm just going to maybe adjust it a little bit. Just because it's a little loud for my taste and it kind of smothers the wonderful voice acting a bit. I get the horrible feeling that he's right, that maybe I should have pushed harder with them. I should be asking him about the murders too, but Harry told me to trust my instincts, and right now something is pulling me towards that graveyard, not towards this scrappy, sarcastic wolf. I'll be careful. See to it that you are, Hunter. The town might fucking implode if it has to deal with much more. He makes a dismissive noise, scowling at me, but he's unable to mask his obvious worry for my well-being. Not that I care. Anyway, I'll see you around. He offers me a half-assed wave paired with a decidedly mischievous grin, and then Alcast slinks back into the alley from whence he came. Thank you for the hydrate check. The graveyard looks so different at night. Beautiful even. Fog twists and curls around my ankles as I walk, glimmering specks of vivid blue light sparkling in its haze. Thanks for the stretch check. Ah. Thank you. Thankfully, the darkness is a little more forgiving this evening, and something seems to be guiding me along and leading me right to the place where the murder happened. I'm hoping that I might be able to get a clearer idea of what transpired here that night, now that I know who he was, or what he was. I follow the path and see a dark figure crouching before a neat line of gravestones. There's no danger here, not that I can feel, but I approach with caution anyway. As I draw nearer, I recognize him. Is this by the same people who made Arcane? No, I don't think it is. Are you referring to Arcane, the TV series based off of League of Legends, or are you referring to the Arcana, the visual novel mobile game? Because I've played the Arcana. I love the Arcana. I love the Arcana so much. So I was definitely getting those kind of vibes when I was looking at this game and considering it for streaming. But no, it's a different team behind it. It's Finn. I'm no fool, and I know he senses me here, but he doesn't flinch, keeping his gaze fixed on the dark forest that surrounds us. I like a little bit of sass. No warm welcome this time. I clear my throat, quirking my brows as he stands and turns to face me, effortlessly graceful. There are no walls for you to pin me against out here. How will you cope? His golden eyes shine in the darkness, and he offers me a sheepish glance.
When good people are getting brutally murdered, my instincts tend to get the better of me. But I apologize again. I'll do anything you require for you to feel comfortable around me.
Yes. No mind reading? He shakes his head quickly.
No mind reading, unless you ask, of course. Or unless you have any particularly loud thoughts. Then I'm afraid there's not much I can do to help it.
A smirk hooks the corner of his mouth, and he offers me his iron hand, switching to his flesh one when I throw him a curious look.
Both are just as cold as the other, unfortunately.
Truce. I shrug heartily and shiver as his cold skin meets my warm, his handshake firm. Truce. I really need to have a look around. I sensed something near where the body was found. I sensed something near where the body was found the night I arrived. He pauses, looking as though he's trying to decide if he should say what he's thinking.
There's definitely a strange energy here. Stranger than usual, anyway. But I can help you, if you wish. I mean, if you wanted an immortal opinion.
How exactly can you help me? He huffs a quiet laugh and folds his arms across his chest.
Would an excellent sense of smell and the ability to see things your human eyes cannot be of use?
I feign disinterest, a playful roll of my eyes as he waits for my response. Kalana, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Could you please clarify? I suppose I shouldn't dismiss any help. But how do I know that you're not the thing committing these horrible crimes? I've been told to trust no one more times than I can count. So tell me, Finn, why should I trust you? He offers me a wry smile, but sadness lingers in his gaze.
Freedom.
Freedom? He nods again, taking another deep, unnecessary breath.
I've been trying to become a better man since the day I died. My sire was a cruel man, a tyrant. Being around that for centuries does something to you.
What whiskey's on the menu tonight, Steph? I'm drinking some Smokehead. It is very nice. Very, very good. I'm down to like the last little bit in my bottle, so I'm not polishing it off tonight, but I am enjoying it immensely. Where's your sire now? He swallows thickly, rubbing the back of his neck. It's almost a nervous gesture, and the first time I've seen him do anything that looked remotely human or graceless. Dead. Killed by your Lieutenant General. I owe Harry my life. He freed me from Levi's shackles. He pauses, head tilted towards the night sky, and he closes his eyes. He's Samson in Dragon Age, that's where the voice is from. That makes a lot of sense. I can hear it. I can hear it, definitely. A smile crosses his lips, something wicked.
I've done terrible things in my time, and I intend to pay penance for those for the rest of my days. Which, if you hadn't heard, is forever.
It's a suggestion for an audio for Glacier audio. I'm open to, like, if you have an idea for like a prompt or something like that. I just don't take requests for like specific audios for specific characters, or like if you give me an idea of like, oh, maybe this could be a fun scenario, that's fine, and I would maybe consider it, but just nothing like specific detail of like, this is exactly what I want to happen with this plot. There are so many things I long to ask him. He's seen so much, done so much, and I assume lost so much.
So, to answer your question, I value doing the right thing above all else. Even if sometimes I tend to stumble a little. Metaphorically, of course.
I offer him a wry smile, watching him watch me. Flirt with everyone. I'd be lying if I said I'm not curious to get to know him a little better. Spending some time with you wouldn't be so terrible, I suppose. He looks taken aback by my statement, but he recovers in record time. A smirk that I've come to learn is quintessentially Finn crossing his lips. A smirk that has my cheeks heating.
You suppose?
I step closer, his gaze burning into mine, and I feel a shiver roll down my spine, the hairs on the back of my neck standing to attention. He notices. Are you cold? He's teasing me, so I decide to play along. Freezing. He makes a quiet little noise, one I think I could become quite fond of hearing.
Unfortunately, I can't warm you up. I am quite dead, you know.
I raise my brow at him, unable to stop the smile that spreads across my lips. Really? I didn't notice. The fangs and deathly pale skin are ever so subtle. He pokes the point of one of his fangs with the tip of his tongue before he speaks. I find myself watching the movement quite intently.
I don't think I've ever been called subtle before.
Well, there's a first time for everything. He narrows his eyes, apparently contemplating his next sentence quite carefully.
You're different, aren't you? I like different.
I clear my throat, snapping myself out of this little daze I appear to have lulled myself into. We should... He smiles, wider this time. He's handsome, bathed in the moonlight, even more so than the artificial light of the shop. It's distracting. He's apparently quite distracted himself, and he clears his throat before he next speaks. Yes, we should. I brush past him, a little closer than necessary, and another shiver overtakes me as I feel his cool skin against my own. And he was Fenris in Dragon Age 2. That's where I know the voice from. That makes a lot more sense, because I was like, he has a very distinct voice and that natural graveliness to his voice. Where the fuck have I heard of it? He's Fenris in Dragon Age 2. Of course. I head for the crime scene, hyper aware of him following close behind, knowing his gaze is burning into me. We stop at the charred patch of grass, Finn bending to pick up one of the bloodied shards of the shattered gravestone. He brings it to his nose and glances at me before he gives it a sniff. He's apparently quite repulsed by whatever scent he's picked up, and he hands me the stone, wiping his hands off on his trousers.
I suggest you keep that. That's not something I've experienced before, and I've smelled a lot of different things in my time. It seems off. If it's from a creature, it's certainly not one I've come across in my 600 years.
I throw him an accusatory glance before I turn my attention back to what he's handed to me. I put it in my pocket for safekeeping. You can't pick up anything at all? So that means it isn't the victim's blood? He shakes his head. Definitely not his. Well, here goes nothing. I do exactly as I did last time, closing my eyes and concentrating, pouring all of my energy into seeking out that lingering memory. It's just as I remember, painful, loud, and I almost can't bear it as a deep, scared voice echoes in my mind. Leave while you still can. I feel a force pushing at me, but it's weak and nothing I can't handle, so I fight it and hold my ground. It's not hostile, but panicked. It's trying to tell me to go, to get out, to run. That just makes me want to stay all the more. I hear Finn saying my name, but it's distant, almost as if I'm underwater. I want to help. Tell me how. Who did this to you? No help. Just death. You can't stop them. I tried. I failed. The voice quickly disappears, and all I'm left with are more questions. I open my eyes to find Finn crouched before me, his eyes wide, concern etched on his handsome face.
Are you okay? What was that? I wasn't listening, I swear it, but I couldn't block it out. It was just so loud.
And yes, I do think Finn has a crescent moon tattoo on his chest. I exhale sharply, shaking my head and taking his hand as he offers it to help me stand. I fall against him and he catches me with fluid grace. Oh no. Oh no. It wasn't the hunter. It was the hunter. It must have been. What did you hear? He pauses, frowning and tightening his grip on me. Nothing coherent, just noise, but it was intense. That's never happened before. What do you mean? I mean, I feel things. I hear things sometimes too, but I've never directly spoken to a spirit like that before. At least, that's what I think it was. I should go and find August. He seems reluctant to let me go, a stitch in his brow as he looks at me. Are you sure you're okay? I nod, regretting it immediately as a wave of dizziness overtakes me.
I've got you. You need to go and seek out Ezra. He can help you. Trust me. He's good with weird shit like this.
I contemplate heading back to see August, but I suspect they won't appreciate me disturbing them at this hour with a little more than a ghost story. You're right. I'll head for his shop immediately. Finn nods, still watching me and holding me close. Head straight there. Promise me? I place my hands on his chest and Finn holds my arms as I try to steady myself. I will. Thank you, Finn. I chase his touch as we break apart, his cool fingertips feeling so soothing against my skin. If you need me, don't hesitate to come and find me. Ezra can tell you how to get to me. I swallow thickly, nodding and trying to shake myself free of this haze. I will. I swear it. He turns and heads for the forest, casting a final lingering glance at me over his shoulder before he disappears into the darkness. Now, I need to find Ezra, and fast. How you guys doing? Sorry, that was just so sweet and so wonderful. So good so far. I'm really enjoying this game, in case it wasn't obvious. I hurry to the shop, still unsteady on my feet, and my mind is reeling. What the hell is going on in this town? I round the corner and see that the lantern outside the shop is dark. I didn't realize how late it had gotten, and I can only hope that he's home. Oh, Kalana, it's all good. It's all good. I do have the general story for Glash's story in mind. But I will keep that in mind. Can't guarantee, of course, that I'll make it, but I have more is coming with Glasha. That's all I'll say. I knock on the door and hear a loud crash, followed by quick footsteps. The door creaks open slowly, and a face that definitely isn't Ezra appears. I'm taken aback by the sight of Omen, his eyes wide as he stares at me. Are you supposed to be in there, Omen? He blinks, and a moment later he smiles, full of sheepish remorse. That answers my question, though it's difficult to even work up any annoyance if he's actually trespassing. Is he influencing me with his powers, or is this human face just that cute? Yes, I may be kind of living here right now. Oh, really? He smiles shyly, his ears twitching, and he looks away for a moment. Is Ezra here? He shakes his head, opening the door a little more.
No, he went out. He said he wouldn't be long, but I don't know when he'll be back.
His eyes widen a little as if he's remembered something. Sorry, would you like to come in? I contemplate rushing off to continue my search for Ezra, but I would be stupid to miss a chance to find out a little more about this curious demon. I'd love to, but just for a moment. There's a neat little pile of cushions arranged on the rug in the middle of the shop, and a handful of empty wrappers that I can only assume were once filled with treats. Omen rushes to pick them up and scrunches them into a ball as if he's trying to get rid of the evidence. His tail sways mindlessly as he chucks them into a small bin hidden behind the counter. He seems oddly at home here, so I assume he's telling the truth about staying here often. You look exhausted. Have you been busy today? I laugh quietly, rubbing my temple, my head continuing to thrum. Very busy, yes. He nods, picking up a slightly glowing blue crystal that sits on one of the displays. He fiddles with it nervously. Can I ask you a few questions? I suppose, yes. I might not be able to answer much, though. Why? He grimaces.
I try to stay out of things around here. The humans don't like me very much.
Oh, but why? The heavily buttoned down shed is a little distracting, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, questions! I have questions! Because you're a demon? His mouth twists into something that looks like it's trying, and very much failing, to be a smile. Something like that. I suppose that's fair. It's not every day you see a demon like him walking down the street, even these days. He's well glamoured, but he's still quite obviously inhuman. In a town like this, especially one so small, I imagine he's quite an unnerving presence. And that isn't even taking into consideration what the murders and unanswered mysteries might have done to the townsfolk's nerves. Ask about himself first, before getting into serious stuff. I don't know much about you. Where are you from? And how long have you been here in Lunaris? Questions, I have questions. I mean questions. No, I'm staying focused. I have a job to do, guys. His eyes widen, his pupils dilating, and I see the slightest hint of crimson flickering in chestnut brown.
I've been here about 2 years. Time passes differently here for me, so it's hard to know for sure. You'd have to ask Ezra. He'd know.
I don't miss the way he so tactfully ignored my question about his origins, but I decide not to press him if he's giving me something. Yet. How did you meet Ezra? He lights up at that question.
I met him the day I arrived in Lunaris. He was the first person I saw, and he took me in without question when I was in need of shelter.
Oh, Ezra is very kind, isn't he? He nods enthusiastically. He is quite wonderful. Everyone thinks so. Well? He fidgets, dropping his gaze to his hands, fingers toying with the blue crystal again. I thought he sounded familiar. Omen is Greed from Fullmetal Alchemist. That is awesome. The General, August. They don't like him very much, and that makes Ezra sad. Do you know why? He shakes his head, biting his lip. No, I didn't want to ask, but Finn says they've known each other a very long time.
Ezra has been very, very kind to me. I don't want to pry, not about things that might hurt to say, or to hear.
I nod slowly. It's hard to argue with that, I suppose. Do you know much about the recent murders? Omen passively looks out the window, a sad look crossing his face.
I know that the humans are upset, and that the ones who were killed were hunters. Ezra is tired all the time, and Finn visits him less. Alcar is distant.
He sighs, a knot forming between his brows.
Everything is so different lately. I don't like it.
His eyes light up when he turns to look at me.
But now you're here. A solution. A fresh start.
I am here. Eventually Omen shrugs. The wind changes, perhaps towards shore this time? And he smiles at me, full of optimism and faith. His trust is almost sweet, but I can't in good conscience lie to him. I hope so, Omen. But it might take me a little while. Right, yes, I understand that. He fidgets where he stands, his eyes flickering to the curtain that hides Ezra's living area. Can I show you something? Of course you can. One moment. He dashes through the curtain that separates the shop, front of the shop with the back, reappearing within seconds, clutching a weathered notebook. Here, I keep notes on things I find interesting. Mostly humans, but also Finn, Alcar, Ezra. He trails off, looking wistful.
I thought maybe this could help you. If you need to know stuff about certain people, I might have something here.
That's very useful, thank you. Flirt with everyone. You said you write about things that you find interesting?
That's right. Anything that intrigues me, I guess. Sometimes things I don't understand, so I can ask someone later. Human things, mostly.
I smile, enamored. He's so wonderfully curious. It's a nice break from the doom and gloom that the others I've spoken to have been emanating. Is there anything about me in there? He stutters, holding the book a little tighter. Oh, maybe? I raise an eyebrow at him, and he shyly drops his gaze.
Yes. Yes, there is.
My smile grows exponentially, and Omen smiles in return. The colour in his cheeks is almost matching his shirt. What did you write about me? His tail sways back and forth enthusiastically, curling around his leg.
You're really putting me on the spot, huh?
Maybe a little. As long as it's nice. I don't mind. I offer him a wink.
Oh, it's very nice. Trust me.
I sigh dramatically, watching him watch me. I have a feeling there will be more notes in his book this evening. Well, I guess I'll have to trust you if you're not going to show me. Never say never, Stephanie. I feel a sudden twang of pain in my temple again. The sensation is unpleasant and it burns. Stephanie, are you okay? Omen rushes to my side, the notebook forgotten on the counter. He reaches for me, but he's hesitant. I feel an impossible warmth radiating off his palm, but he withdraws his hand before he touches me. I'm fine, I really need to find Ezra. Do you have any idea where he could be?
I don't know for sure, but he usually goes to the market or the tavern. Maybe even the catacombs.
The catacombs? He nods, leaning closer.
Yes, that's where the vampires are.
He presses his finger to his lips, a human gesture that looks out of place, like he's been practicing it.
I would try the tavern first, though. He did mention he needed a drink. He likes to drink a lot of wine after a busy day.
Thank you so much, Omen. I'd better hurry. I bid him a quick farewell and head back out into the darkness. I push my way into the tavern, scanning every table for that shock of white hair, and much to my relief, I see the friendly face I'm looking for. He's noticed me already, his hand raised as he beckons me over to where he sits alone in a cozy spot in the corner. His smile is as bright and as wide as I remember, and I take a seat opposite him.
It's good to see you. I hope the town hasn't scared you off yet.
Hi, Ezra. I raise an accusatory eyebrow at him, earning a laugh. Well, even if I was scared off, can't really go anywhere, can I? Ezra smiles softly, but he seems restless. I suppose not, no.
What's that like? Being bound to do whatever you're told. By your duty.
I would say I would maybe open up, be a little bit vulnerable, because they've shown me such kindness. Like, okay, I'll open up a little bit. I contemplate his question for a moment, wondering exactly how honest I should be. Well, it is quite lonely, especially when you're torn from your previous post and dropped into a weird town full of strangers. And murders, don't forget those. He winks, a sparkle in his eyes. And murders, yes.
I'm sorry you have to endure that. Loneliness is a terrible thing, but you shall be lonely no more. We've got you now. We're here for you.
I'm not getting emotional over this game. God damn it. I'm so glad I picked this game. I really needed this. He sits a little straighter, determined. We? He rolls his eyes playfully with a hand placed over his heart.
You wound me. Yes, we. Myself and Finn and Piper and, well, maybe even August, if you're lucky.
Give me time. Give me time, Ezra. I will win over August eventually. I laugh as Ezra grimaces at that thought.
You have people here. Some might be undead or just plain stubborn, but you have us.
Thank you, Ezra. That means a lot. He shrugs it off, running his fingers around the rim of his wine glass.
We've all been lonely at some point. Some of us will always be lonely, even surrounded by people. But if there's the smallest chance that you can quell that with some good company, then you should take it.
He looks up at me, and I wonder how such a human exists. He's kind, impossibly so. I find it very hard to believe it could ever be an act. So, you have friends here, Stephanie? A barmaid comes over and rolls her eyes, hands on her hip as she addresses me rather curtly. Drink? I'll have what he's having. Wine sounds good right now. And then we can take our time with it, mull it over. Even though I am drinking whiskey tonight, I'll have what he's having. I gesture at Ezra's half-empty wine glass, the dark liquid looking more than appealing. I'll have the same, please. She turns and wanders off with yet another roll of her eyes, and Ezra poorly stifles a laugh. Don't take it personally. That's Edna. She's notoriously... short. I grimace, and as she returns with my glass of wine, I nod politely. Thank you, Edna. Edna grunts, turning on her heel and throwing me a dismissive wave over her shoulder. Case in point. The wine tastes rich, and I eagerly savor the first sip. Are you okay? You seem tense. I was actually looking for you. I need to tell you something, but I need you to promise me you won't think I'm crazy.
You're talking to someone who lives in Lunaris. Try me.
Fair point. I take a deep breath and edge closer, checking no one else is listening. I visited the graveyard after I left your shop yesterday to see the crime scene. I tried to get a feel for what happened there that night. Ezra leans in, his eyes wide. And I I didn't really get much other than an overwhelming sense of loss, which is, well, quite normal, considering the circumstances. People tend to feel such emotions when they're dying. But tonight when I went back, Finn was there too, and I felt something different. Different how exactly? I half a laugh, knowing how ridiculous this sounds. I heard him. The hunter, the one who died, he spoke to me. Ezra's gaze darts around the tavern, and he sits back in his chair, running a hand through his hair. He wipes the look of shock off his face quickly, putting himself to rights. Sorry. Missed that line. There we are. He wipes the look of shock off his face quickly, putting himself to rights. His voice is low when he speaks next, barely a whisper. You sure it was him? I nod. Positive. He told me to leave, and there's no hope in helping. Ezra leans forward again, pushing his wine glass aside, placing his hand upon the table. His fingers are visibly twitching. I mirror his movement and place my hand upon the table beside his, shamelessly needing comfort and contact. Ezra doesn't hesitate to take it in his own, his skin warm and soft as he squeezes it tightly. It's going to be okay. We'll figure this out together. I exhale sharply, feeling like I've been holding my breath ever since I left that graveyard. Thank you, Ezra. I don't know what I'd do without you, and I've only known you for a few days.
It's okay. I'm used to taking care of people. It's my thing, I suppose. Besides, you're delightful. It's not like it's a chore.
Thank you. He softens his expression and starts drawing gentle, soothing circles on the back of my head with his thumb. His cheeks darken slightly, and everything about him is impossibly enchanting. I'm glad you're okay, Stephanie. I'm here for you, always. I'm more grateful than you'll ever know for that. Another squeeze of my hand and we part reluctantly. Pretty. So, what now? He curls his fingers around the stem of his glass and sighs deeply.
I don't even know how to unpack this, but I do know that you need to rest. How's your head feeling?
I sigh, pushing my wine aside. Still hurting. Ezra fishes around in the pouch that's attached to his belt, retrieving a small vial full of what looks like a strange herb or flower. Here, crush this into some boiling water and it should help with the headache. It's just some feverfew and butterbur. Completely natural, I promise. I take the vial and tuck it safely in my pocket. Do you have a pharmacy in there? He laughs softly, shaking his head. What kind of witch would I be if I didn't carry around a cure for a migraine? I should head back to the shop. I left Omen unattended with the kitchen cupboard unlocked. He'll eat me out of house and home. I did check there before I came here. He's gotten into the sweets. Shit. And that's definitely my cue to leave.
Whatever you experience today will still have happened tomorrow. I know what you hunters are like. No matter how scary August is, your report can wait until tomorrow.
Okay. I smile up at him as he stands to leave. I promise. I'm drained. I need my bed more than ever right now. Plus, I need to decide how to pour all of this into words. This has changed everything for me, hasn't it? Yes, I'm afraid it did. Just... He sighs deeply, resting a hand upon my shoulder.
Be mindful of who you share this information with, okay? There are eyes and ears everywhere.
Good night, Stephanie. Good night, Ezra. I stare out of the window and I spot the first snowflakes falling from a star-dusted sky. Winter has arrived in Lunaris. My headache is persistent as I lay in bed, but nothing can possibly stop me from falling asleep after the day I've had. What's this? A character telling us not to overwork ourselves. Shocking, isn't it? I finish the tea that I made with the flowers Ezra gave me, hoping that it begins to take effect. I close my eyes, but just before I drift off, a distant whisper. My name was James. I open my eyes to the incessant sound of fists banging on my door. My head is still pounding, a fuzzy haze settling over me as I drag myself from the relative comfort of my bed and attempt to ignore the ache that has made itself home in behind my eyeballs. I blink once, twice, and shit, it's dark? Surely I slept for more than a few hours.
You better hope you're dead in a bloody ditch somewhere.
Oh fuck, did I sleep through to the next day? Fuck. Hunter Swan, if you don't open this door in the next 5 seconds, then you'll have to pay for a new one. I grimace, thinking that might actually be the preferred option right now. Did I really sleep for a whole day? Well, at least my death will be in the hands of something other than a ghastly creature, I suppose. Small victories. I look out of the window and it's most definitely past sundown. Leonard is covered in snow, a pristine blanket of perfect white glistening in the moonlight. Oh shit, I slept for 24 hours. August is gonna be fucking pissed. There are more people in the street than I've seen the whole time I've been in Lunaris, and they're hanging brightly coloured bunting from between the crooked little houses.
I have things to do. Important things. I can hear you in there, you know.
The thought of opening the door and seeing August ready to tear my head off is less than appealing, especially when I probably look like I've been dragged through a fey nest and left for dead. I gather my wits and shout as cheerily as I can muster, "I'll be down in 5 minutes!" I hear a series of incoherent mumbles from the other side of the door, followed by a clack of heels as they walk away without much of a fight. I get the feeling I'm in a lot of trouble. Wonderful. The wharf is full to the brim with red-faced patrons, all wearing far fancier outfits than the usual uninteresting garments they tend to sport. I also see August scowling in the corner, but I almost don't recognize them out of their uniform. They spot me, and I can almost feel my blood freezing as that ice-cold gaze fixes upon me.
We thought you were missing. I almost had a search party sent out for you.
I appreciate the casual wear, and yes, I'm not dead. I catch myself staring as August impatiently taps their foot, clearly waiting for an apology. They look different, more relaxed, and far more approachable. It certainly doesn't help my growing infatuation with them. You look different. Amazing, actually. Their foot stills, a dark brow raising what I'm hoping is interest.
I do.
Has this society not yet invented top buttons? I mean, Hayden. I'm not complaining. I doubt most of the rest of you are complaining. I smile, biting my lip to prevent it from growing as wide as I'd like it to. Yes, you do. You have impeccable taste, General. Thank you, Stephanie. It's hard to find a decent tailor in these parts, so They hold their words, narrowing their gaze, apparently suspicious of my curiosity.
Flattery will get you nowhere. And certainly not on a day where you've shown yourself up so horribly.
I'm really sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. They raised their hand, silencing me. I don't want to hear it. If you had attended this morning's meeting, you would know that there's quite an important event happening this evening. We don't have much time thanks to your tardiness, so please bear with me while I explain.
We are in the middle of a crisis, yes, but the Lunar Festival is unavoidable. Harry thinks that if we postpone or cancel it, the town will erupt into chaos.
They need stability more than ever right now, and the last thing we need is more panic. Lunar Festival? A festival, while there are horrible murders being committed? Trust me, I know, it's abhorrent to be quite honest. It's a yearly tradition that has been around for centuries, one that Harry holds dear. He's been distant lately.
We need our leader back. And if this helps, then I'm willing to play along. And I expect you to do the same. No questions asked, understand?
Tops can't have top buttons. It's fantasy lore. I love that so much, Mellow Man. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Although, to be fair, Omen doesn't seem to have top buttons on his shirt that he wears under his vest, and he is definitely giving me, like, submissive vibes. I'm just saying. I hardly agree, and I have more than enough on my mind that I need to figure out, but the look August is giving me tells me I have little to no choice. I ponder their question for a little longer than necessary for dramatic effect, feeling them growing impatient. Absolutely anything you need. They relax at that, their pretty eyes bright as they stare me down. Good.
And between you and me, I personally think it's a complete and utter waste of time and resources. Especially in the middle of such a crisis.
They sigh heavily, shrugging as if they've already admitted defeat. Alas, it's important to Harry that we stick with said tradition and show the people of Nunaris that everything is exactly as it should be. So just forget about the horrible murders and my sworn duty to protect and serve the people for a night, then. Yes, we've got it. And I don't have a choice? Do you ever? Point taken. A rather loud cheer rings out from the doorway, and August grimaces, running a hand over their face.
The festival itself takes place in the market. Please represent us well, Hunter. All eyes will be on you. And this is the perfect opportunity for you to introduce yourself to the town.
Oh, take care, Kimiko-kun. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Then they look me up and down, apparently unsatisfied with my presentation. You want to change into something a little more interesting, and I suggest you find someone to escort you. It would look a little odd having you wander around by yourself. We have to show solidarity. I don't want to choose. I don't want to choose. They're all so wonderful. Guys, I can't choose. Like, definitely the ones I personally am kind of more drawn to are Ezra, Finn, and August. Piper is wonderful, but I think for this current scenario, with wanting to like have a show of like, yes, I'm here, we're going to fix all of the problems, then I think like August or Ezra will probably be the best fit, or Finn, maybe. Where is the all button? Okay. People are saying Finn. I'm definitely leaning towards Finn as well. RNG said 3, but I think you want Finn. Okay, guys, since we have to pick one, I'm just gonna save quickly. Do not choose your fighter. Perfect. Alright. Yep, Finn. We're picking Finn. I have someone who can show me around. Very well. Just remember that all eyes are on you. And don't forget to change. I nod, smiling politely. Yes, General. Good evening, Hunter. They tug on an expensive-looking fur coat and head out into the chill. I look down at my outfit, sighing as I resign myself to the fact that I probably should change. I stand in the street, feeling a little lost. The last time I saw Finn, he was hanging out in the graveyard like all good vampires do, but I'd rather avoid going there again after what happened last night. The only other idea that pops into my head is to ask Ezra if he can direct me to him. I feel a strange connection to Finn, especially after last night. He was so kind and caring, and though I feel a little foolish for being enthralled so fast, life is short, as they say. Unless, of course, you're Finn. I reach the shop, the mage light lantern just flickering and fading as I approach, signaling that its owner is leaving the premises. The door swings open, and I'm met by a startled-looking Ezra. Oh, I love your outfit! It's so cute! I love it so much. Are we going to get winter variants of all the characters? Yes, please. Stephanie, are you okay? I'm fine. I was wondering if you could help me find Finn. His expression relaxes and a sly smile crosses his lips. Oh, of course I can. You'll have to come inside, though. Omen waits patiently by the counter, smiling shyly as I enter. Winter variants? Alright everyone, line up. I want to see your winter outfits. Hello, Omen. Are you coming to the festival with us? Before I can speak, Ezra gracefully interrupts. Nope, Finn. I assume you want him to escort you to the festival. Did Gus request that you attend? I nod, and Omen seems confused, but enthusiastic nonetheless. Oh, okay. Well, have fun. Ezra winks at me, quietly ordering the demon to stay put while he directs me towards the back room. Finn? Where are you? Ezra stands behind the trapdoor that sits in the center of the room, turning to face me, his eyes sparkling. Want to see a trick? A trick? He laughs, bending down to unlock the hatch. I almost expect him to cast a spell, but watch and learn. He lays flat on the ground, sticking his head through the pitch-black hole, a stunningly cold breeze wafting up from underground. It smells damp and old, not exactly appealing. I remember Omen mentioning something there about being catacombs beneath the town, but they weren't marked on the map that I received in my summons. Ezra yells into the hatch, and his voice echoes eerily in the darkness. Finnegan, quickly, please, I don't have all night. I stare at him as he stands and runs his hands over his tunic. He'll be along shortly. Would you like me to wait with you? I hear the front door of the shop opening, followed by muffled laughter. Ezra's eyes widen and he grimaces. That's probably my cue to go. I can't leave those two unsupervised for too long without something getting broken. Do you mind? Those two? He sighs, throwing me a sorry look. Omen and Alcar. Alcar likes to tease him, tell him unsavory things that I can't risk him repeating in public again. Unfortunately, Omen isn't fully attuned to the ways of our world just yet, so having a Lycan who enjoys causing trouble around him can lead to some issues. He sounds exasperated, but he looks strangely happy. I can tell he has a lot of affection for his little band of supernatural misfits. That is until a rather loud crash rings out from the shop. Oh dear. I could wait. Go on. Do you need me to lock up? Would you? Finn knows how. Thank you so much. He grins, and there's a knowing look in his eyes. Have fun. He won't keep you waiting too long. He's usually quite punctual. See you later, Ezra. He bids me a quick farewell, leaving me standing in the middle of the room, apparently waiting for a vampire to pop up from under the floorboards. What is my life? Honey, you are living the best life right now. I would kill to be in your place right now. I wander over to the countertop while I wait, inspecting the paintings that adorn the walls. The one that sticks out to me the most is a striking portrait of Ezra. He has his eyes closed and he looks so peaceful. I idly wonder if he did these himself. Do you like them? The button law. The button law. I know you're a vampire so you don't feel the cold, so I appreciate the thought that went into this outfit. Thank you. I turn, startled but somehow not surprised to see Finn standing before me. I glance down and the hatch is nearly already closed and latched. You did these? He nods, leaning in to inspect his work. He looks dashing in a rather extravagant, well-tailored coat that ends just below his knees. I assume he's dressed like this simply to fit in rather than to keep warm. The dangerously low cut of his shirt fully confirms my theory.
I did. It's a silly hobby of mine. You tend to have many hobbies when you have eternity stretched out before you.
They're beautiful. You're quite talented, you know. His arm brushes mine as he steps closer, but I try not to shiver.
I've had centuries of practice, so I could probably serve to be a little better. But I find myself lacking a muse lately. My inspiration is gone.
He reaches out to trace his fingertip over the petal of one of the white anemones that takes a pride of place in a smaller painting. That's a shame. He shrugs as if he's unbothered, but a sly smile that curls his lips hints at something else. He turns to meet my gaze, and I'm still caught off guard by the startling brightness of those golden eyes. I hardly wonder if I'll ever get used to them.
Though I'm sure I'll find one soon.
Then, a wolfish grin affords me a quick glance of his fangs, but before I can get too lost in it, he turns and heads for the front of the shop. I gather my wits and follow him. Compose yourself. We got this, guys. We are going to be wrapping up the stream in a little bit. Probably when we get to the festival, or when there feels like it's a good end of the chapter beat, then we'll wrap it up for the night. Finn locks the shop with practiced ease, placing his iron palm flat against the door. The markings thrum to life for the briefest of moments, a faint magical shimmer rolling over the weathered wood. What was that? Finn joins me on the street and flexes the fingers of his prosthetic.
Ezra uses wards to protect the shop, just to be cautious. There's plenty of nasty little things lurking around here who would quite like to get their hands on his wares.
Plus, it's just another handy little trick this thing can do. Another? He raises a dark eyebrow at me, sticking his hands into his coat pockets. That's for me to know. I scoff playfully, picking up my pace to catch up with him as he attempts to hide his smirk by wandering ahead. So, how many of these lunar festivals have you attended? I fall in step with him, finding myself strangely transfixed on how human he can be in moments like this. Is this on Steam, Stephanie? Because now I got to play this. Yes, this is on Steam. And yes, I highly recommend checking it out because we will be going through the full story. So if you want to play it yourself and enjoy the full story before I continue it next Sunday, then highly recommend it because then you can kind of pick your own things and not be spoiled for what happens later. Let's see. I think I lost count a few decades ago, to be honest. We'll just go with a lot. There are so many things I long to ask him, but I wonder how boring it must get for someone who's lived as long as him to tell the same stories over and over again. So you really live under the town? How big is your clan?
13, including me. So, relatively small. And yes, there are catacombs that run right beneath us. It's quite cozy down there, actually.
I crinkle my nose at him, earning a laugh.
Hey, don't look at me like that. It is, I swear. We take full advantage of the fact that we have somewhere safe and comfortable to live during daylight hours, without confining ourselves to caves or boarded-up dives.
I'm sure you're the envy of all the other clans. They mostly despise us. We aren't quite murderous or hungry enough for them. Are you, close with any of your clan members? Just asking for a friend. He promptly stops walking, his boots scuffing against the icy cobblestones. Close? I clear my throat, shrugging and trying to brush it off. I know what I meant, and I think he does too. You know, intimate. I haven't heard of many vampires who don't have mates, especially those who are clan leaders. He stares me down. Oh, take care, Baron. Thank you so much for joining us.
I don't have a partner right now, no. I can't say I'm interested in getting into relationships with my own kind.
Interesting. Isn't that lonely? His laugh is noticeably tinged with a little sadness.
There are many ways to cure loneliness. However, being immortal is inherently lonely, regardless of your relationship status.
So, if you don't favor other vampires in that way, what species do you prefer to seek the company of? He starts walking again, tipping his head for me to follow.
Humans, of course.
He tilts his head, carefully nudging me with his elbow as he steps a little closer. I bite my lip, trying to stop an idiotic smile from spreading across my face. Well, it's just lucky that I happen to be human then, isn't it? He moves to stand in front of me, walking backward, a shit-eating grin on that infuriatingly handsome face. This game gets it. This game fucking gets it. How frustrating it is. when like someone that is just like so physically attractive to you, it's just like they look at you with that smug shit-eating grin, like they know exactly what they're doing to you, and then you're reciprocating that energy, and it's just infuriating. Just, I have responsibilities, but my god, you are attractive. Thank you for the stretch trick, Sam.
Quite lucky indeed.
I try to avert my gaze and step ahead slightly, but he follows me with a smile, one that has heat creeping into my cheeks, even in this impossible cold. Aren't you supposed to be escorting me, not teasing me?
Oh, but you're so easy to tease. I do enjoy making you blush. The color suits you.
I roll my eyes, stopping dead in my tracks, earning a laugh from him. I'm not blushing, it's freezing! Apparently I'm a liar now. He reaches for my wrist, his long fingers gently curling around it, his thumb pressed against my fluttering pulse. His gaze flickers to the point of contact, then back to my face. My skin is somehow alight even underneath his cold touch. He's asking for permission, and I nod, granting it to him. He turns my hand over in his own, my palm facing up. He traces the lines, head, life, sun, fate, and heart, and he watches me intently as he does so.
You know, I can feel every hitch in your breath, every rush of blood in your veins, the steady and not so steady beats of your heart. There's no hiding from me, Hunter.
I clear my throat, finding it hard to form words. His touch is so painfully gentle it almost aches. No hiding. He pauses over my pulse, pressing a little harder and feeling it protest against his fingertips.
My instincts are not something I can switch off, but you really have no reason to hide. I'm not going to hurt you, unless you ask nicely.
He slowly releases me, guiding my hand back to my side, and I miss the contact the moment it's gone. You're impossible. With a shrug, he's moving onward, his hands back in his pockets. He throws me a look over his shoulder, something soft and affectionate.
Humans?
Scream and cry. Okay. I think with that, and that hydrate check, we could keep going for a bit, but honestly, this feels like it's a good point to wrap things up for tonight, because then we'll be getting straight into the festival in the next stream. So I think with that, I'm gonna save, and then we're gonna wrap things up for tonight. Okay, perfect. Oops. So yes, with that, yep, saved and everything like that. With that, let's wrap things up for tonight, guys, and then we can continue this story next Sunday. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. This game has been on my wish list on Steam for a while now, and I was looking for a game that we could enjoy before Coffee Talk Chapter 2 comes out, and I'm so glad I picked this one. I miss playing like these kind of fun, a little bit spicy visual novels with you guys, and there's so many good ones out there that I can't wait to stream more of them with you guys, and thank you all so very much for joining me tonight. If you've been lurking in the shadows and you like what you've seen so far, please consider following. We would love to have you back at the Blue Rose Respite. You're welcome anytime. Be sure to check out my other socials in the chat right now, including my Twitter for important updates, my 2 YouTube channels for my ASMR tales and my Twitch VODs, and my Instagram for lovely pictures. And let's see who's currently streaming and we can go send them some love. Oh, let's go send some love to the wonderful, as always, Neil Newborn. Please be sure to give him plenty of love from the Blue Rose Respite. And I will see you next Friday for some more Resident Evil Village. Sorry, not Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil 4 Remake. And next Sunday, of course, for more of When the Night Comes. But thank you all so very much for joining me tonight and just enjoying watching me get so flustered over this amazing game. I hope you all have a fantastic week ahead. It's also, next weekend is a long weekend, so I'm very much looking forward to taking a bit of a break. And I will see you guys next Friday. And remember, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, stay wicked and wonderful. Good night, guys.